Ladies and gents, it's 13 days before Season 10, but we've been missing one thing from all the reveals so far, and that has been context. We've got a lot of information, but we've got no feeling. We've not seen everything that's been talked about. There's been nothing to get our teeth into and have a look at. No gameplay, no screenshots. Well, that has changed. Because yes, we've seen our first look at Season 10 in the flesh, and we're going to look at it today, break down everything that I've noticed, and give you all the information you need to know and that has been announced. There's a lot to break down. On that subject, if this video does go on to help you understand these insanely long blog posts, I mean, yeah, these are long posts to fit into 10 or 15 minute videos, then all I ask of you is that you press the thumbs up button. We want one like. Yes, one. Can we get one like, please? And whilst we're reeling off all this information for you, let me know in the comments what you think of the fresh new design for SuperCard. And if you find the secret word that's hidden in the video, put that in there as well, and I'll give your comment a heart and maybe even a reply. But before we go any further, you may have watched my previous video where it was mentioned by 2K support that Rarity draft picks may not carry over into Season 10. Good news for you, we've had a response from SuperCard and Cat Daddy regarding this, and they have denied what has been stated, instead clarifying that whilst Rarity picks and rewards will be based on your rarity in the new season, your existing Rarity picks will not be affected. A big thank you to the devs and the community manager Cat Daddy for getting out to us as soon as possible and clearing that up. But now onto the blog, where it states they're going over a few extra long bin staples in WWE SuperCard, the draft board and the fusion chamber. Not only are they making some long requested tweaks, but they're also slapping a fresh coat of paint on the entire thing as well, which is great, and you'll see it for yourself right now. This is the main screen, but they also mention about other things that are coming in as well, such as Rarity Pulls and Super Pulls, something we've only heard about by name, but no context to it. Well, it explains it here. Collecting draft picks and pulling cards from the draft board is basically the bread and butter of SuperCard, while pulling cards below your rarity level can be useful for training or accruing dust. There's no denying that finding that elusive card of your rarity on the draft board is a thrilling experience that can change your deck if you snag the right card. While it sometimes feels that these high rarity cards are distributed at random, there is a system that ensures you don't go too long without pulling one, and you guys know, if you've been playing the game for a long time, that is the pity pull system. This is where you have a number of resets, let's say 180 for a plus rarity player at the moment, and this means that after 179 resets, your 180th will be your pull. This sometimes could be usurped by an early pull, so it resets it to 0 after like 2 or 3 resets even, but usually you end up waiting the whole way until that 180th reset off the draft board. They state it's time to paint over all of the tick marks on your walls because they're making a change to the draft board that will make it abundantly clear when you're about to pull a card of your rarity, and it's called the Rarity Pull Counter. So all the other pull counters on Android, get out of here, because we've actually got an official way of counting your resets. While the draft board will technically function the same, there will now be a counter at the bottom of your draft board that will keep track of how many times you've reset your board since the last time you pulled a card of your rarity, as well as the maximum number of resets it will take to pull your next one. While you may still get lucky and pull a card of your rarity sooner than the maximum number of resets, you'll now have a better idea of when the next guaranteed pull is coming. Once you've hit the requisite number of resets, your entire draft board will begin to glow with energy, and that means your next reset will absolutely be of your rarity. We're hoping that this change, coupled with other Season 10 adjustments, will help take some of the guesswork out of how you build your deck and will allow you to prioritize your next best move. So that's nice to know that nothing is really changing from the norm and they're just adding bits to it. I do hope that there's a new pull animation, because I've always wanted them to make the pulls look and feel more special. In addition to the Rarity Pull, they're implementing a new draft board event designed to keep you on your toes, and I like the idea of this, the Super Pull. It's a rare event that isn't impacted by your other activity on the draft board or the Rarity draft board, meaning there's no count or calculation to estimate when your next one's going to come. It's just RNG. It's up to fate. When triggering a Super Pull, you'll be shown 3 cards. While none of them are anything to scoff at, only one one will be of your current rarity, and with some luck, you'll walk away with a powerful new card of your rarity, but you should take home something useful either way. Super Pulls apparently are going to be rare events, but something that I could see them implementing into draft board patterns, so a way of unlocking one, or a QR code or a code that you can enter into the settings to give you one of these with a chance of getting something of your tier. I'd like to know the odds of this happening and if that changes with your level, player levels, which if you haven't seen that video where I explain how that works, go and check it out. It's going to be linked just up here. Alternatively, it looks like this if you go and search my channel for it. But you know what else would be super other than Super Pulls? Making sure you're subscribed, because over 40% of you of watching have stayed a safe distance away from the subscribe button, like it's got a chair and it's about to smack you with it. Well, they're calling you out and they want to fight. So you know what you have to do? You got to climb to the top rope and drop a big old elbow on that subscribe button. Yes, I did listen to the fact that Edge actually isn't in WWE anymore, so it's kind of weird having him. So we've changed it to the returning Kairi Sane. Perfect. Anyway, press the button. It's sometimes red, sometimes black, sometimes white. Doesn't matter what color it is. It's still awesome. Now we move on to the fusions, and they state that the cards and events for fusions have been a staple of SuperCard for a while and have given rise to plenty of powerful and interesting cards over the years, and some not so good stuff. Anyway, as fusions went on, however, they grew more complicated. What began as a feature designed to help you repurpose your old cards into something new and meaningful became a set of barriers to clear for a new card that may or may not be useful in your deck. My biggest issue personally with the fusions were that when you do a fusion, the cards are nowhere near as powerful, especially when you're doing the event fusions, and you might even get a card that's 2 tiers below your current tier and you've just given up 2 of your current tier pros to get it just makes no sense. Also, the designs are amazing and I'd like to see those more in the game. It's always puzzled me that you get this amazingly detailed card and then suddenly have to get rid of it because a new shinier fusions come out. Kind of makes no sense. So they're rethinking the fusion chamber from the ground up to make it a clearer, less random and more goal-orientated experience. Apparently, they're making 2 main changes to the fusion chamber. They're condensing the number of chambers and adding fusion tokens instead of cards needed to start your fusions. In fact, it's all going to be token based now. Instead of a bespoke chamber for each non-legacy rarity in the game, plus any relevant in-game events, as you can see, they're whittling down the previous chambers to only 6. The first 3, or the rarity chambers, will grow more powerful as your player level increases and will always generate cards based on your rarity level, so SummerSlam, Pantheon, etc. Depending on the fusion tokens you use, these chambers will generate cards matching your rarity, or one above or one below. I like that you can possibly get one above your rarity and they're not removing that ability, because some people, especially free-to-play players, use this as an opportunity to get themselves a card above their tier, and the fact you're going to be able to keep those cards is a good thing. The 4th chamber they're bringing in is a legacy chamber, and it's based on a low rarity and legacy cards in case you'd like to complete your collection of pre-existing fusions cards. Bring back the season 1 and season 2 fusion chambers, please. Any of them. Just give me it. So many of the season 1 cards I missed out on because the fusion chamber was only in the game for a very limited amount of time. A large selection of previous rarities that are not available in the first 3 chambers will also be available via fusions here. Finally, the last 2 fusion chambers, known as the promo chambers, will be based on in-game fusion events and will function similarly to how you're used to currently. Depending on which events are active, these chambers will be used to generate relevant cards and may contain different versions per fusion event. Think Halloween, spring, or holiday fusions as an example. But one thing I noticed when I looked a little bit closer on that screenshot you've been having on your screen, so screenshot on a screen, I'm going to stop before I confuse myself, is that each fusion type has its own shape. For the current day fusions, they've got bronze, silver, and gold categories, which I'm going to explain to you in just a moment, and those are circle tokens. Then for the legacy fusions, it's a square token. Then for the special events, it is a triangle, and apparently collectibles might come into this as well, but those are what the fusion tokens are going to be. But that seems to be the way they're going to differentiate what tokens you should be looking for. They go on to mention that generating cards of specific rarities required a fusion card from the rarity below that one, as well as many of the 7 other cards in order to reach the required number of points. If the cards you added didn't meet the points total, you'd need to swap them out for more powerful ones to complete the fusion. In Season 10, they're just getting rid of all of that in favor of the fusion tokens. They're adding 5 types of fusion tokens: bronze, silver, gold, collection, and treasure tokens. Bronze, silver, gold are going to be used for the current day fusions, bronze being a rarity below your current, so let's just say myth tier. Silver tokens match your current rarity level, so let's just say your SummerSlam 23 tier as an example, and the gold tokens are 1 rarity above your current level, so would be Pantheon if you're on SummerSlam tier, which just so happens to be the starting rarity of the new game. Collection tokens, on the other hand, will be used for generating legacy cards. That is the square one, and this you'll be able to choose which rarity you'd like to generate a card from. It does show a lot of different choices in the screenshots, going as far back as SummerSlam, Nightmare, and Cataclysm. Then on to promo fusions, which will behave like the rarity-based fusions in that they will no longer require you to sacrifice cards to meet points totals. Instead, you'll need to collect treasure tokens or other collectibles based on each respective event, like pumpkins or whatever. Different fusions cost different amounts of tokens, and you'll be able to find fusion tokens in all the places you'd expect, so draft board, events, rewards, the store, and other opportunities, though some apparently will be rarer than others. The only thing I'm not so sure about is the inability to go for other fusions, but if that's not really going to matter and you've got more choice, then it's great. What I hope isn't the case is they're going to make the fusions rarer to get, or that they're going to keep them the same power they are at the moment, because then they're kind of useless still. If they make it slightly harder to get, but they increase the power of the cards, then that would be a little bit better. As a player, I'd still like to know that I'm getting something of quality when I open my next fusion, and something that I can use at the end of the day. Next up, the overall look. It's time for another makeover, and they can't think of a better time than Season 10. They're looking to create a SuperCard experience that is smoother and less box orientated. They want to modernize the game's more complicated elements and shave off the edges to help where you're going quickly and clearly. Specifically, they've cleaned up the main menu, which you can see here, to highlight the weekly events and big moments in the game while making room for a few new elements along the way, which I dig. We need to see the whole thing, but I love what they've done with ring domination as an example. With all the different cards and boxes, it did feel a little bit disconnected from each other, and by just looking at this, it does feel a little bit less cluttered. Like everything kind of joins together and just works. I'm guessing the bottom part is going to act like a wheel as such, where you swipe and you can go around, kind of like you go from side to side now, but you're going like a wheel shape instead. But whilst you're looking at this screenshot, you may notice that the card limit is a lot lower, and people were going to bring this up and probably be a bit concerned. And it is important to note that it's very likely that this is either just a test account, or that they're going to separate the legacy cards from the main card limit. But if they don't, this seems to be similar to how if you restarted SuperCard today, as you go up the rarities from Behemoth all the way up to Pantheon tier, you get additional volume to your card limit. What I'd like to hope is that 225 is what the starting limit is, and all your legacy cards before WrestleMania 39 take up the rest of the space in a separate legacy card limit. Otherwise, we're getting rid of a lot of cards, and yeah, hopefully they'll clarify that at some point. But there's also a brand new My Card section. You may have remember they mentioned this recently, that they were going to be making the My Card section a lot clearer and beginning apparently, and it does look pretty sweet. You've got the entire cards in each slot instead of this miniature view, but apparently you can change that back and forth if you want, and the pro animations are on view as well if you stick to the new view instead of going back to the old view, but the choice is yours. I like this, I'm a big fan. They also mentioned that part of the overhaul is about getting flashy new animations like the Fusion Chamber, for example, and that they're committed to keeping SuperCard Superstar pretty because it's not going anywhere. And you know what? That's pretty cool to see. It's been a little bit concerning over the last year, especially with their focus on Season 10 and my faction becoming bigger and bigger with 2K23. It's nice to know that Cat Daddy have no intentions of being the torch passers to 2K24 and beyond. The last part of the refresh is something that was brought up many times in the video where I spoke about it, the avatars, and this is going to be a very much reassuring part of the video because a lot of people were concerned you couldn't use your superstar pictures in the future for Season 10. Well, the good news is that it actually isn't that at all, and you can still use your current images as you can see in the top left-hand side of the main menu, but you've also got the option of using a couple of these crazy avatars, including cheese, a hot dog, a gorilla, a husky or a wolf, a bullfrog, fun time, because he's apparently an avatar in the game now, which is great. Congrats to Bullfrog. That's his forever avatar now. And yeah, sounds like a skill issue. It also looks like you can use the renders of the SuperCard card. So instead of the full image, looking at the background of this image, it shows the renders only and not the card background with it. It'd be nice if you could change the card background to something completely different, just like you can customize the cards in game. You can move superstars to different card backgrounds if you have the cards. Why wouldn't you allow that in the game? Or why not just have a hot dog with Jey Uso in front of it? Why not? Huh? Apparently these are going to be available in the same way that attitudes and card backs, so I'm guessing this is an additional thing for the battle pass and for certain packs in the game off of the web store or special offers that show up every now and then. So a nice way to end. This has all been positive things, especially the confirmation the Rarity draft picks are going nowhere, and yes, they're changing for Season 10, but everyone can use their existing ones that are in their inboxes. The Fusion Chamber seems like it's something that's going to take getting used to, but it's nothing that we're not already had to get used to in the first place. It's a fresh coat of everything and we'll get used to it. The only thing I want to make sure of is that the volume of fusions that you can do now is not affected and that you can still do more than one fusion at the same time, hopefully without a cost. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, I have been JB. You have been amazing for watching this video. Leave your comments down below. That was a huge reveal and I can't wait to see what you guys say about the first ever look at this brand new season. Hopefully we get some actual gameplay soon. No doubt we will in the next week, but it is coming on real fast. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one, people. Peace out.